Today, what we're gonna do is walk through an image that I created. And I'm gonna talk you through the concept that I was thinking as I was making this photo. So that way you can turn this into a workflow for yourself. So let's dive into the photo. The very first thing that I did is I developed the crop. Now, when you look at this, I used a 16:9 aspect ratio. I wanted the wide angle look to the image, make this look like it came from a scene of a movie. And this would really come in handy if you're doing like maybe a slideshow and you want the like a cinematic approach, because then you can add a Ken Burns effect. This is the reason why I chose the 16:9 aspect ratio, because I think it gives that look, right? And however you choose to compose your image, that's completely up to you. I chose to cut out this little tower over here on the far left, and really just keep the little, like just right above the ridge line, because there's not much information up there. All of the real cool looking information is happening down here. And then there's a little kid that's over here with a paddle. And then looking at this lake, and you can tell there's this hot spot. Like you can tell this is either a sunrise or a sunset. Fun fact, this is a sunset at a lake that I visited when I was in Colorado. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit apply. And now we'll get into the effects. Now I'm gonna build these up, so I'll turn them all off. And we'll start with the first one, which is an HDR look. Now this, let's go over here real quick. So I did throw in some contrast, and I also, I thought I changed the camera profile, but I guess I didn't. Maybe that was on a previous edit. So the HDR look. This was a bracketed shot, so I merged this using HDR, the HDR effect inside of ON1, or feature, I guess is what a better term is for it. I used that to actually create this image and stack the three images together. Now, what that allowed me to do was really, there's some movement going on. There's some wind blowing. You can see these aren't exactly sharp. And that's what I enjoy about this image. It's like you're just in the moment. That's a personal preference. Let me know in the comment section what you think about that. But all I did was I increased the vibrance here. I think I left the clarity where it was when it actually assessed the photo, and then the detail was the same way. The only thing that I changed was the compression. Now, the reason why I changed the compression is when you pull it way up here, you see how the colors start to get a little weird. I didn't like that, so I pulled the compression down until I got a natural look. The goal with HDR, and I think why it got such a bad rap, is because people were doing these extra over the top edits, which subjectively, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But for me, I wanted to bring the compression down to something that looked natural, and like this is what the day looked like. I was trying to recreate the scene that I was standing in at the moment, and this is essentially what it looked like. Now, from there, you can add in your effects to make the scene look like what you want it to. So I decided to add a LUT. Now, your LUT may be different than the LUT that I choose, but the reason why I added a LUT is because it instantly gives a tone, a feel, a vibe, if you will. And I don't have to do much work to get it that way, right? So this is with the LUT applied at 59%. I boosted the contrast, and if you're curious, I'm using the travel LUTs. This is, don't want that. Here. And I was on number 4. So I am using the travel LUT, and all the LUTs really do is they just help build the image. Now, you can build this in however you want, right? So to get the look that you want. And the cool thing about LUTs is they can be used if, again, you're doing video, right? If you are in this area and you're filming and you want to apply the exact same LUT to your video, you can apply it to the video and the photo. I know I don't talk about video much on the channel, but obviously I know a little bit about video since I'm on a YouTube channel. And using LUTs on your videos, it just helps produce them that much better and a lot faster. All right, you can get a look and a style. Point is, you can use the exact same LUT that you use on your video on your image, and now you have this cohesion. All right, now the next thing that I did was add a bleach bypass. The reason I add the bleach bypass is because I want more of that contrasty like punch to the image. As you can see on the LUT itself, on the LUT filter, there's a contrast slider, and that thing is all the way up almost. The reason is, I think that it's a little flat when, like, to me, that's just a little too flat. So I wanted to really punch in the contrast separation of this particular LUT, and then I wanted it to go a little bit further, so I dropped a bleach bypass. When you turn this off, you can see in the mountains how they're a little dull, and then I went ahead and dropped this in, and you see how it just fills in that a little bit more. Now, you probably could do that with an exposure adjustment using a blend mode or just a apply to segment, but I decided to go with the bleach bypass personally. And what this also allowed me to do was I can add in a tint. That's the other reason why I use this. Now, you can't really tell, you can just feel it, right? The feel is what I was going for with this image when I was doing the edit. Now, all I did here was, I think I actually decreased the amount, and I added in the tint. I chose my color by using the color wheel. I just clicked and dragged until I found one that I like, and then I brought in the amount until I felt like it was just where it needed to be. Now, I don't need this to be at 100%, right? 100%, this looks great. I think that you can definitely use that, but I wanted it to be, again, more natural, like something that you can tell it's edited, but not to the point that it is so fake that no one would ever see this type of scene. You could very easily see these types of oranges during a sunset. So that's why I left it, or why I brought the opacity down. I didn't saturate this, and I did add a little bit of detail. And again, that's just to tighten up the image. It was already a little unsharp, but it still gives the motion, which is very, very, very subtle. Like you can see it right here. And that's because I didn't let the ghosting get deleted completely. All right. And then the last thing that I did to give it a, I guess, an old time antique, or really just more of that cinematic approach, I added in a matte curve. Now, if you're not familiar with a matte curve, drop it in the comment section below. I will make a video explaining the pros and cons of using a matte curve, because I think that this is something that a lot of people, you see these faded, desaturated looks, and you're wondering like, okay, well, how is that happening? Well, it happens with the matte curve. And the reason why I added it here was because I had darkened the image so much that I needed to bring back a little bit of the airiness, right? And this is also a way of making light and airy photos if that's something you're into. But this gives that final, like, yeah, you're at the lake, the sun's going down, it's time to pack up the stuff and go home if that's what you're gonna do. And that is the vibe that I was going for with this particular image and with this edit. Now, I did throw in a border. I realized I did not like the border, so I turned it off. And that's the cool thing about editing photos non-destructively. You can do almost whatever you want to these things and turn it off if it doesn't work. So hopefully you found value in today's content. If you did, smash the like button. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Chris. I create content to help new photographers learn how to use ON1 Photo Raw through video tutorials just like this. If that's something you are interested in, smash the subscribe button and don't be afraid to leave a comment letting me know what you need the most help in. Until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.